There is nothing selfish about choosing yourself. When people drift away or connections no longer feel safe or loving, the most powerful thing you can do is gently release them and return home to your own heart. This is not about blame. This is about healing. It's about learning to shift your attention from who hurt you to who needs you most right now. You are not meant to carry the weight of everyone else's choices. You are meant to be free. You are meant to rise. So today, let us gently explore how to focus on yourself and let them go with peace, with compassion, and with unwavering love. Letting go is one of the most misunderstood acts of love. It is often seen as defeat, abandonment, or failure. But in truth, letting go is one of the most compassionate choices you can make, for yourself and for others. It is not about giving up. It is about rising above. It is not about forgetting. It is about freeing. It is not about closing your heart. It is about opening it to something deeper, something wiser, something more aligned with your soul. When we hold on tightly to what no longer fits, we block the natural flow of life. We grip onto memories, conversations, promises, or fantasies of what could have been. We believe that if we just try harder, love deeper, or wait longer, things might return to how they were. But what we often fail to realize is this: if something is meant to stay, it will never require you to sacrifice your peace to keep it. Letting go is a gentle but firm whisper to your soul that says, I trust life more than I fear the unknown. It is a sacred step into your own becoming. It is a declaration that says, I will no longer abandon myself while trying to hold on to someone who has already let go of me. And that, dear one, is not weakness. That is strength. That is power. That is love. You may feel a void when you release what you once clung to. That emptiness is not there to hurt you. It is there to teach you. It is space, sacred space. And that space will one day be filled with peace, clarity, and new life. But first, it must be honored. Sit with it. Breathe into it. Do not rush to fill it with distractions or temporary comforts. That space is proof that you chose yourself. That space is proof that you loved enough to let go. Sometimes we confuse letting go with not caring. But you can still care deeply. You can still wish them well. You can still hold a quiet love for someone and still choose to walk away. You can honor the good times, forgive the painful ones, and release the attachment without bitterness or regret. That is the art of loving without chaining. That is the grace of releasing without resentment. It is natural to feel sadness. It is okay to cry. It is human to miss what once was. But don't let those emotions trick you into thinking you've made a mistake. Emotions are not evidence that you're doing something wrong. They are simply a sign that you're doing something real. And letting go, true, conscious letting go, is one of the most real things you will ever do. You do not need their permission to move on. You do not need a clear explanation or a grand apology. You do not need everything to make perfect sense. Sometimes peace comes not from understanding everything, but from accepting that some things are not meant to be understood, just accepted and released. Letting go is also not a one-time act. It's a practice, a quiet decision you may need to make every morning, every time a memory surfaces, every time your heart aches, every time you are tempted to go back. You remind yourself again and again, I choose peace. I choose me. The beauty is this: every time you choose to release, you grow. Every time you loosen the grip, your soul breathes. And every time you turn inward instead of outward, your healing begins to blossom. This is not the end. This is the rebirth. You are not losing love. You are rediscovering it within yourself. The love you gave, the energy you poured, the loyalty you extended, it was never wasted. It shaped you. It showed you the depth of your heart. And now it returns home to you ready to be used for your own joy, your own growth, your own life. You are not meant to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's comfort zone. You are not meant to bend until you break. You are meant to stand tall, open-hearted, grounded in your worth. And anyone who is meant for you will meet you there, freely. So let go. Gently, lovingly, courageously. Let go of the need to fix. Let go of the need to be chosen. Let go of the illusion that holding on is strength. And allow yourself to soften into trust. Because when you let go, you do not fall. You rise. You rise into your truth. You rise into your healing. You rise into a life that doesn't demand you to hold on out of fear, but invites you to move forward in faith. Letting go is not the end of love. It is the beginning of real, lasting, soul-aligned love. The kind that begins within. The kind that never leaves you. The kind that holds you gently even as everything else fades away. You have spent so much of your life pouring into others. You've stretched yourself thin to be everything to everyone, to be dependable, to be kind, to be chosen, to be loved. You've held others up while your own heart quietly ached for attention. You've compromised your needs, silenced your truth, and shrunk your light just to keep peace, to hold relationships together, to not be abandoned. But today, something within you is awakening, a quiet, powerful truth that whispers, you deserve to choose yourself. Choosing yourself does not mean you love others any less. It simply means you are no longer willing to betray your own needs in the process of loving them. You are allowed to say yes to your joy, even if it disappoints someone else. You are allowed to say no to what drains you, even if others don't understand. You are allowed to take up space, to prioritize rest, to walk away from what feels heavy, and to honor your own path, even if you must walk it alone for a while. For too long, you've made everyone else the center of your story. Their feelings, their expectations. And in doing so, you've made yourself an afterthought. You've convinced yourself that if you just do more, give more, or be more, you will finally be enough in their eyes. But the truth is, you were always enough. You just forgot to be enough in your own eyes first. Choosing yourself is not an act of rebellion. It is an act of remembrance. It is remembering that your life is sacred, your time is valuable, your peace is priceless, and your needs matter. You are not being selfish when you listen to your intuition. You are not wrong for protecting your energy. You are not cruel for enforcing boundaries. You are simply returning to yourself. And that is the most loving thing you could ever do. You deserve to show up for yourself with the same loyalty, compassion, and attention that you so easily give to others. You deserve to meet your own gaze in the mirror and say, I matter. I am worthy. I am here for me now. You deserve mornings that begin with gratitude for who you are, not anxiety about who you must become for someone else. You deserve nights where your heart feels safe, not because someone else kept it that way, but because you've learned how to guard it with tenderness and strength. You do not have to wait for someone to choose you to feel valuable. You do not have to be perfect to be deserving. You do not have to earn your worth through overgiving. You already are everything you seek. You already carry the love, the wisdom, the courage, and the light that you've been searching for in others. This is your permission to choose yourself again and again. To stop settling for crumbs when you deserve the feast. To stop explaining your worth to those who refuse to see it. To stop measuring your value by how much pain you can endure before you finally break. You were not born to live in survival mode. You were born to thrive, to expand, to breathe freely, to dance in your truth without fear of rejection. Choosing yourself may not always be easy. Sometimes it will mean walking away from relationships that no longer feel aligned. Sometimes it will mean standing firm in your truth even when it shakes. Sometimes it will mean facing the discomfort of loneliness so that you can create space for real connection with yourself and eventually with others who honor the real you. But I promise you this, every time you choose yourself, life responds. Every time you choose your worth over someone's approval, your soul sighs in relief. Every time you say yes to your own heart, the universe gently shifts in your favor. You begin to notice miracles, synchronicities, peace in your body, clarity in your thoughts. Because the moment you choose yourself, you step into alignment. You stop chasing what was never meant for you. You stop begging to be seen, and you start becoming fully, unapologetically, beautifully you. So breathe. Breathe, let the old stories fall away. Release the guilt, release the shame. Release the belief that you must earn your place. You are already whole. You are already chosen by life itself. And now all that's left is for you to choose you. From this moment on, let every decision, every step, and every thought reflect this truth: you are worthy of your own love, your own time, your own devotion. You are allowed to be the hero of your own story, not the background character in someone else's. This is not the end of who you were. This is the beginning of who you truly are. And that person, you, deserves everything good and whole and beautiful that life has to offer. There is a quiet power in realizing how much of your energy you've given away. Over the years, you've handed it out piece by piece. Through overthinking, through trying to please others, through staying in places where your spirit felt heavy. You've poured yourself into relationships that no longer pour back, relived conversations long after they ended, and kept doors open to people who walked away. Without realizing it, you began to feel tired, not just in your body, but in your soul. But your energy is your life force. It is sacred. It fuels your joy, your peace, your creativity, your healing. And when you spend it on what no longer serves you, it's like watering dead plants, hoping they'll bloom again. The truth is, your energy deserves direction. It deserves intention. And most of all, it deserves to be rooted in places that nourish you, not deplete you. To reclaim your energy is to call your power back from every corner where it has been scattered. It is choosing to no longer leak your life force into the past, into people who no longer walk beside you, or into battles that no longer need to be fought. It is choosing peace over chaos. It is choosing yourself without guilt. It is remembering that your energy is a gift, and not everyone, not everything, is worthy of access to it. Every time you overextend yourself, every time you replay something that hurt you, every time you try to control what is out of your hands, you give away a little more of your light. And slowly, you feel disconnected from yourself. But the beautiful truth is that you can always return. No matter how far you've drifted, you can always come back home to your own energy. You can choose again. You can realign. You can remember that your peace is your responsibility. It begins with awareness. Notice where your energy goes. Who drains you? What habits leave you feeling empty? What thoughts pull you out of the present moment? Begin gently. No need to judge yourself. Just observe. With that awareness, you can begin to choose differently. You can begin to ask yourself, does this feed me or deplete me? And then honor the answer. Reclaiming your energy might mean saying no without explaining. It might mean deleting old messages, releasing old stories, and no longer checking who watched your story or who didn't text back. It might mean unfollowing, unsubscribing, detaching with love. It might mean taking long walks alone, letting your nervous system unwind, and letting your soul remember what it feels like to be free. Sometimes, the most healing thing you can do is to simply stop. Stop over-efforting, stop chasing. Stop fixing what isn't yours to fix, and instead, rest, breathe, reconnect. Put your hand on your heart and remind yourself that you do not need to be everything to everyone. You only need to be true to yourself. As you reclaim your energy, you will notice something beautiful. Your clarity returns. Your joy becomes louder. Your body feels safer. Your mind grows still. You begin to feel like yourself again. Not the version molded by survival or people-pleasing, but the real, radiant, whole you. And from that place, your decisions change. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop rushing and start flowing. You stop grasping and begin receiving. This is not about becoming selfish. It's about becoming selective. It's about learning that your energy is currency, and you must invest it wisely. Not everyone gets a seat at your table. Not every invitation needs a yes. Not every opinion deserves your attention. You are allowed to protect your peace as fiercely as you once protected relationships that didn't protect you. Reclaiming your energy is the beginning of remembering your worth. Because when you no longer spend all your energy chasing, fixing, proving, or pleasing, you create space. Space for your dreams, your healing, your joy, your expansion. You stop just surviving and you begin to thrive. You are not here to live on empty. You are not here to constantly feel exhausted by emotional labor that isn't reciprocated. You are here to feel whole, to feel vibrant, to feel alive in your own skin. And that begins the moment you decide that your energy matters. So come back to yourself. Breathe your power back in. Let go of what drains you. And choose from this moment forward to honor your energy like the treasure it is. Because in doing so, you are not just reclaiming your time, your space, or your peace. You are reclaiming your entire life. Sometimes we're taught to be strong in ways that hurt us. We're told not to cry, not to break, not to feel too much. We're told to move on quickly, to keep going no matter how heavy our heart feels, as if emotions are weaknesses that should be hidden or suppressed. But the truth is, it's okay to feel. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to hurt. And none of that means you're broken. It means you're human. It means you're alive. There's nothing shameful about pain. It doesn't make you any less wise, less spiritual, or less healed. Pain is a part of the journey. It is a sacred signal that something meaningful has touched your heart. Maybe you lost something you thought you'd always have. Maybe someone you trusted didn't love you the way you hoped they would. Maybe a dream didn't unfold the way you envisioned. These moments are hard. And it's okay to admit that. You do not have to pretend you're fine when you're not. You do not have to smile to make others comfortable. You don't need to explain your sadness or defend your tears. Your emotions are valid just as they are. Let them rise. Let them move through you. Emotions are energy. They are meant to flow, not to be trapped inside. When you allow yourself to feel, you allow yourself to heal. But in the midst of pain, there's one gentle reminder: don't pause your life forever. Feel your emotions, but don't set up camp in them. Grieve, but don't forget to breathe. Cry, but don't forget to rest. Remember that pain is a visitor, not your permanent address. It comes to teach, to open, to soften. It is not here to define you or imprison you. So often, we believe we have to stop everything until we feel better. We put our dreams on hold. We distance ourselves from joy. We delay our growth because we're waiting for the pain to fully disappear. But healing doesn't mean waiting for the sadness to vanish. Healing means choosing to live, even with the sadness still present. It means making room in your heart for both grief and hope, for both hurt and renewal. You are allowed to feel and still take the next step. You are allowed to cry and still rise. You are allowed to be heartbroken and still move forward. Moving forward doesn't mean you've forgotten. It doesn't mean you're rushing. It means you're honoring your future just as much as you're honoring your past. There is a quiet strength in continuing to live while you are healing, watering your plants, making your bed, stepping outside for fresh air, speaking kindly to yourself. These small acts are not insignificant. They are powerful declarations that say, I still choose life. They are proof that even in your pain, you are choosing love. Love for yourself, love for your growth, love for what's still to come. Your emotions are not obstacles. They are part of the path. Allow them to guide you deeper into yourself, not away from life. Notice what your sadness is showing you. Let your loneliness reveal where you've been neglecting your own heart. Let your anger uncover where you've needed boundaries. Let your tears cleanse what no longer serves you. You are not too much. You are not weak. You are not falling behind. You are exactly where you need to be. You are unfolding. You are becoming. And the more you allow yourself to feel, the more fully you begin to live. Let this be a time of grace. A time when you offer yourself the tenderness you once waited for from others. A time when you speak to yourself gently. When you forgive yourself often. When you hold yourself close instead of criticizing your process. The world may rush, but you do not have to. The world may demand perfection, but you only need to be real. And right now, being real means allowing your heart to breathe, allowing your spirit to exhale, allowing your life to continue. Not in spite of your pain, but alongside it. There will come a day when the heaviness lifts, not because you pushed it away, but because you honored it, because you gave it space, because you didn't fight yourself, because you allowed the feeling to come, and you also allowed yourself to keep walking. This is not the end. This is a passage. And even in your lowest moments, you are still moving forward. With every breath, with every tear, with every act of self-kindness, you are healing more than you know. So feel it all. But don't pause your life in pain. Let it be a part of your story, not the whole story. Let your emotions visit, but don't let them stay forever. Life still has beauty to offer you. Let your heart stay open for when it arrives. There comes a point on your healing journey when you stop waiting for the apology that never comes. You stop replaying the last conversation, hoping for a different ending. You stop checking your phone for a message that remains unsent. Instead, you begin to turn inward. You start to realize that closure isn't something another person gives you. It's something you choose for yourself. It's not found in their words, their regret, or their return. It's found in the quiet decision to no longer allow someone else's absence to define your worth. Closure comes from within. It begins when you decide that your peace is more important than understanding why someone hurt you. It begins when you stop seeking validation from someone who couldn't see your value in the first place. It begins when you look at your broken heart and say, even though I didn't deserve this pain, I deserve to heal from it. So many people spend months, even years, waiting for someone to explain their actions, waiting for clarity, waiting for a conversation to make sense of it all. But what if that day never comes? What if the person who hurt you never fully understands what they did? What if they've moved on, living their life, while you remain stuck in a loop of unanswered questions? That is when you must take your power back. That is when you must choose closure for yourself, not because you received the answers, but because you deserve to move forward. Choosing closure from within is a radical act of self-love. It means you no longer need to hold on to pain in order to prove how deeply you felt. You no longer need to carry the burden of someone else's choices. You can let go, not because it didn't matter, but because you finally matter more. You choose to make peace with what was, not to excuse it, but to stop reliving it. Closure is not always about getting the full truth. Sometimes it's about accepting the truth you do have. Maybe they weren't ready. Maybe they didn't know how to love you. Maybe they never saw you clearly. Maybe it wasn't about you at all. Whatever the reason, closure is not about changing what happened. It's about changing what you allow to live in your heart today. You can still feel the sadness and also be healing. You can still have questions and still be letting go. Closure doesn't mean you stop remembering. It means the memory stops controlling you. It means you can think of them without the sting. It means you can wish them well from a distance, without wishing for them to come back. The truth is, you are capable of giving yourself everything you thought you needed from them. You can validate your own pain. You can honor the love you gave. You can forgive, not for their sake, but for your own liberation. Forgiveness doesn't mean you allow someone to return. It simply means you release the grip that pain has had on your life. And when you do that, when you truly give yourself the closure you've been waiting for, you create space. Space for peace. Space for new beginnings. Space for the kind of love that doesn't leave you guessing. The kind of love that shows up fully, not conditionally. But most importantly, space for the love you now give to yourself. The love that says, I will never again abandon myself for someone who couldn't choose me. It's okay to grieve what could have been. It's okay to feel the loss. But don't let the ending be where you stay. There is more to your story. There is life beyond that moment. There is joy, laughter, depth, and freedom waiting for you. But only if you're willing to close the chapter that keeps you tied to the pain. You don't need their words to be free. You only need your own. Speak gently to yourself. Say, I release this with love. I forgive what I cannot change. I no longer wait for healing to come from someone else. I am my own peace. I am my own closure. And when you do, something shifts. You no longer carry the weight of confusion. You stop needing to prove you're hurt. You begin to soften. You begin to rise. You begin to reclaim the parts of yourself that got lost in trying to understand someone else's silence. This is how closure finds you, not in grand endings or perfect explanations, but in the quiet courage to accept what is and still choose your healing. In the decision to love yourself more than the desire to make sense of someone else's choices. You are not unfinished. You are not waiting. You are free. Because the door you were waiting for them to close. You just closed it yourself. There is a beautiful shift that happens the moment you stop chasing, proving, or begging for what's already yours by divine right. When you turn your attention inward, when you nourish your own soul, when you stop trying to fix or control what's outside of you, the universe begins to respond. Things start to unfold in ways you couldn't have predicted. People drift away who no longer match your vibration, and new connections appear. So naturally, so effortlessly. Opportunities align. Peace returns. And it's not because the world changed. It's because your focus did. You've spent enough time trying to be everything for everyone. You've watered gardens that never bloomed for you. You've twisted yourself into shapes just to be accepted. But your power was never in being chosen by others. It was always in choosing yourself. And when you finally do, life begins to flow. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped resisting what was always meant for you. The universe is not blind to your efforts. Every moment you invest in your healing, every time you say no to what drains you, every act of self-care, every boundary you honor, it is all energy, and that energy returns to you. Not in the exact way you expect, but in the way you truly need. Because the universe doesn't give you what you beg for. It gives you what you are aligned with. When you focus on yourself, you raise your vibration. You start living from truth, not fear. You stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, do I like who I am becoming? That shift changes everything. You begin to attract people in situations that match your clarity, your calm, your confidence. You stop needing to chase, because what is meant for you can now find you. You are no longer blocking your own blessings with self-doubt, overgiving, or trying to force timing. Focusing on yourself does not mean isolating or becoming selfish. It means understanding that your energy is your responsibility. It means recognizing that no one can pour into you the way you can. It means learning to sit with your emotions rather than distracting yourself with someone else's drama. It means becoming your own source of love, validation, and safety. And in that space of self-connection, miracles happen. Not loud, dramatic miracles, but quiet ones. You begin to wake up with more peace. You no longer need to check your phone for someone's attention to feel good about yourself. You begin to eat with intention, speak with kindness, rest without guilt. You start doing things because they light you up, not because you're trying to prove your worth. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize how much power you always had. You begin to trust your intuition again. You stop second-guessing every decision. You stop asking for permission to take up space. And as your self-trust grows, so does your alignment. Life meets you where you are. The right people show up, not because you chased them, but because your energy called to them. You are not here to live in a cycle of waiting. Waiting for someone to choose you, waiting for closure, waiting for the timing to be perfect. You are here to live, to create, to evolve. And the best way to do that is to return to yourself. Focus on your growth. Focus on your inner peace. Focus on the version of you that you are becoming, not the one you are trying to fix. Your healing doesn't require an audience. Your glow up doesn't need applause. Focus on you because it feels good to feel good. Focus on you because your inner world is the only thing you can truly control. When you do, life becomes a mirror. It reflects your self-love, your patience, your clarity. What you used to beg for, you now naturally attract. What you used to chase, you now welcome. There is nothing more magnetic than someone who is in harmony with themselves. Someone who knows their worth without needing to shout it. Someone who radiates peace because they've made peace within. This is what happens when you focus on you. You become a magnet, not by effort, but by embodiment. So breathe deeply, come back to your center. Come back to the part of you that was never lost, only distracted. You don't need to hustle for love. You don't need to force what doesn't flow. Everything you desire is already making its way to you the moment you decide to make yourself your priority. This is the shift. This is the secret. This is the truth you've always known deep down. When you focus on you, the universe aligns. Not because you did anything special, but because you finally remembered that you are already enough. And that is the most powerful alignment of all.